everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. So I am in the midst of a reorganization of my sewing room here. If you have not seen the first part of this video, definitely click the link that I will put up above and also down below in the description and go check out that video first because that is the first start of this process. But the video got a little bit long, so I had to break it up into two parts. So you are watching the second part here. So I am going to jump right back in and get back to my organizing. So I wound up filling up both of the drawer dividers almost completely. I have two of these sections left, and I think I might either put some other little bits and bobs in there, or I might kind of disperse these a little, because both this one, which is like cording or lacing strips or other utility, there's twill tapes and stuff, I might divide that out, or I might divide out the laces because they're pretty jam-packed in there right now, just the modern laces, and to the point where I can't really like see them easily. So I might divide out either and or both of those so that I can see them a little bit better, but everything else I'm pretty happy with. This one is like reds, a little bit of green, and metallic, because apparently I don't have much of those. This is pinks, purples, blues, not including turquoises. I had to separate out the turquoise because there were too many of them. This one was vintage laces, and then also this spool that didn't fit in the ribbon drawer, and I still don't really know what to do with. This was like eyelet trim plus this big satin ribbon plus like some other random, like this is an applique type trim. This was those random kind of things that I talked about earlier. This is really truly random. Like there's really random stuff. There's a couple of yellow things because I have almost no yellow ribbons. And then there's like some flowers to get put on to things. And yeah, super, super random. Black. There's the turquoise. This is like ruched and pleated ivory and white trims. Yes, I have that many of them. This is just pink ruched stuff. I don't even remember if that, I think that might have been, was that for my strawberry dress? I'm not really sure, but it was from something, probably my strawberry dress. This one, so I've got hook and eye tape at the top, but then it's all buckles underneath, so buckly type things. And then this has some collars in it, plus some appliques. So, and doily. So that's why I'm not sure yet what's going to go in those other two, but something. But these drawers are done, and this space basically only has all of the bags of flowers in it. These are those other little bits and bobs I was talking about that maybe I will put in to those last two cubbies, but they're small things, so I'd have to have them contained, because the one thing about those cubbies is that the bottom of the cubby isn't actually attached to the walls, it's just like supporting, so these would wind up moving all over the place. So I would need to contain them some way, maybe in this glass, which I was given from a show. I don't even remember what show, but someone gave me that glass as like a show souvenir. So yeah, I've got random stuff there that I do need to do stuff with, but this I think I'm going to put in its own drawer because I think it would be really nice to have a drawer just full of flowers. And yeah, so I'm going to take a break now, but then I'm going to come back and probably put some more of the shelves in because those are really challenging and I need to be like fully mentally there for that. So I'll put shelves in here so I can do the drawers here. And then the other ones that I think are getting shelves, I might do one that's like half flowers, half padding is my thought, because a lot of that is padding. And it'd be nice to have that sorted in a drawer. So I might put a shelf there. And then this was the other one that I'm thinking of putting a shelf in. But they're kind of a pain in the butt to put in, so I probably won't do all three tonight, especially since I'm not sure about things. I will probably roll this stuff up before I decide to put a shelf there. So I know it has to get messier before it gets cleaner because that's just like part of the thing. But it's driving me crazy. On the plus side, these are the ribbon bins that were the like scrap ribbons, so those look really nice. I put up the glass shelf, and what I'm doing now is I had a whole bunch of folders and like printouts and just random crap in here. A lot of it was from past costume colleges, but then also like back when I started costuming, I had just graduated college, or really was kind of even just in college when I was doing some of the research, and I didn't have money for books, so I printed things. I like went to the library and made copies. So most of those I have now purchased the books of, so I was able to like throw away a lot. That's the recycling pile over there. But a few of them I have not yet purchased, so apparently I need to, because I still have like a few printouts of, they're not full books, but it was like all of the pages that I thought I might be interested in. So, and then these are all costume college like programs from each year. I'm missing my 2012 program. I don't know where it is, and I'm sad because I have all of the others. And then I have costume college print, like handouts are all in this yellow folder. This one is, I think, like other printouts from books and online. So is this one. And this one is actually all of my old drawings of things. And well, not all drawings. Some of them are printouts of inspiration. I mean, this one obviously adjusted, but this one, like my giant turquoise one, Snow White, so many of these, like these are all my inspiration things. And some of them are actual drawings, because I used to like draw things. I'm not a good artist, so I kind of stopped doing that. And I think that's why I do a lot of like copies now, but I did used to draw. So I have some of my old drawings in here, which is like cute to look at. So that's fun. Anyway, what I have been doing is I've been trying to empty out these shelves, or like I'm playing, I don't know, it's not Rubik's Cube. It's that game where you move all the little cars around so you can get one to like exit. That's what I feel like I'm doing, because I emptied out this cubby here, which was like the scarves and random stuff, which is why the scarves are all on my table. And that way I could move these there, but honestly, I shouldn't have just moved those there. I want to move all of the books up is what I've decided, because I think I really want the uniformity of having drawers across. Now, I don't know that I want 5 cubbies worth of drawers though, and I only purchased 4 cubbies worth. So it might be that I do like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one will be other stuff, because I don't think I have enough that I can like do 4 drawer cubbies. So all of the books now are getting like shifted though into all the different places. So I am excited to start doing that. The hard part is going to be trying not to double layer things, because that is how I currently have my books and also my patterns. And again, I don't want them that way. So I have to figure out how to do it without like also having all this excess space here and being like, oh, well, there's just space there. I'm just going to put things there, you know, for now until I can move them later, which I never do. So that's where I'm at. It's fun, but it's also like a nightmare because this makes me very anxious. Okay, I gotta keep cleaning. I am super happy with this art drawer, which is going to be the one below the flowers. I got everything basically from this shelf up here into this bin. I don't know how, but like seriously, I think everything except boning and some cardstock got into here. So that's pretty exciting. I have paints, puff paints, colored pencils, crayons, pipe cleaners, leather paints. There's some watercolor paints back there, I think, acrylic paints, and most importantly, hot glue over here. Also other types of glue over here, and the Hot Fix rhinestone setter that I totally did not wind up using for Elsa over here. So everything just like kind of fit perfectly. So I'm really excited about that, and it can go into place now. There it is. Look how nice that looks. And up here, flowers, and I also have like some jewelry making type stuff here in the back of the drawer, which is nice because it also kind of helps to weigh the drawer in. It's not super lightweight. So now I have 3 drawers in, and I am going to make this one drawers as well for like the stuffing and stuff. But the thing is that I don't think I have enough to make this one also a drawer. Like I don't think I have enough stuff that would fit in it. So then I guess that begs the question, do I do 4 drawers in a row Or should I leave the middle one and do 2 on each side? These thoughts we have to think about. So I've done a little bit more sorting today. This, as you can tell, is now empty. That is one of the areas that was like the messiest in this cabinet. It was filled with bits of embroidery stabilizer, interfacing, etc., and also padding, like quilt batting and padding and stuff. So that has now gone into these drawers. I have the padding drawer here, which doesn't like to go in and out that easily because this is kind of like sticky-ish, but it's got quilt batting and foam padding and basically like any sort of padding type stuff. And then in here we have all of the interfacing and stabilizer and like horsehair braid and stuff too. So it's diagonally divided because I have a piece of, I think it's like fusible interfacing right here that is the length of the hypotenuse of this drawer. So that is dividing it so that the embroidery stuff is in the back here, and then the sewing stuff like fusible interfacing, sew and interfacing, the horsehair braids and crinoline, that is all in the front. So that's now nicely organized. I was kind of hoping, and I knew that this was a long shot, but I was kind of hoping that in these 2 drawers I could also somehow fit the tool cubby, which obviously did not happen. So I think I'm going to try rolling the tool and just see if that works. And if not, I am thinking about maybe making this a drawer set. And if I do, I think there might even be a chance that I could get all of the yarn in one drawer, since it's only kind of taking up half the cubby. It's just like the back half of the cubby. So I'm kind of thinking that that could work in a drawer. And if so, this last space will be the yarn and I guess possibly the tool if I can't roll it. So, and I've also done a little bit of other stuff. The pile on the floor is kind of getting bigger, which is, you know, not great, but that's because I dumped out a little bin type thing that was on the floor. But look, my table is a lot cleaner, so now I can fold more stuff. And that is because over here, I now have some bins of things. So this one right here is my like mock-up fabric extravaganza. It's all like old sheets and just random scraps of like muslin that aren't, you know, yardage anymore, but are big enough to get like bodice pieces out of. So that is what this bin is. And then this one is where I put all of the scarves mostly. So there's like a whole bunch of scarves in here, and also a couple of costume accessories that I just did not know what to do with, like my hat from the 90s, because I can't bear to part with this purple crushed velvet bucket hat. Oh wait, you gotta see this. Hey look, it still fits. It's my hat from elementary school, and I don't know why I still have this, but I can't bear to part with it. So that's in that bin too, along with a couple of other accessories like leis and a little fake mob cap that I made for a Disney Bound earlier this year, and also my sash from when I was in Smile. I was Miss Carson. Well, friends, we have reached a bit of an impasse in the organizational saga. I have run out of large boards and I still have a lot of fabric left to go, which I will show you shortly. So this means now that I have to switch to the small boards. And as I think I mentioned, the small boards are going to be primarily for fabrics that are like under a yard, yard and a half, something like that. So they're going to be like the, you know, leftovers that I have from other projects that were still big enough to keep. And yeah, I don't know how many of those I have. I feel like a lot of what I have in the massive pile on the floor is still stuff that's more than like a yard and a half, but probably less than like 2 yards. So I guess I'll have to kind of weigh how I want to do all of that, but I will have to go out and find new boards. I'm also, I think, running out of pins. I've been using a lot of my like larger style pins for these other than on the silks, and I guess I didn't have that many of them because now I have like 3. And I obviously need some for actual use as well. So I might have to run to Joann's tomorrow also to get more pins to keep going with everything. That said, let me show you what everything is looking like now. So this is the current how everything is. It's not organized within the cubbies really. I mean, it was for the silks and then I just kind of like started putting things in as I folded them. So I will have to reorganize, but I've actually folded a bunch of the netting up now too. And it's amazing how little room it takes up when it's folded on bolts. I mean, I have a ridiculous amount of this big petticoat netting that I kind of like put on a bolt, but it was also taller than the bolt. So I just kind of like shoved it in there. But these were taking up so much room before. I mean, there is still more tulle on the floor in the pile, but it's smaller yardages. So I'll have to see if it's worth rolling. But yeah, it's so much nicer. So the big question is, of this pile, how many things are scraps and, or, you know, under yard and a half, and how many are not? Because the scraps I can continue to whittle away at the pile with like the, I don't know, I think I've got at least 25 or so of these still to go, of these smaller boards. So those will be good because I can keep working away at them and put them into the cubbies in here and get the mess off the floor. But otherwise, I'm going to have to wait until I can source more cardboard, and I don't know how long that'll take because it's like scavenging. So that's too bad. I really wanted this done, you know, this week. And it's looking like it probably won't be. But everything else looks so pretty. I mean, like, I did my books yesterday. I think I forgot to show you my books, but I will do a book tour at some point because I've had a couple of requests for that. So these are my most referenced books. Plus I put my Truly Victorian patterns right here. I had all of my patterns in here, and actually just taking out the Truly Victorian ones meant that this now fits perfectly. So how random is that? And this, like, it's a little bit of a squeeze, but it does fit perfectly and I can get things in and out. And then yeah, these are my most referenced books with some of the slightly less referenced books over here. And as I mentioned, the ones that I never really reference down at the bottom, hiding down there. I do have to figure out what to do with these. These are class kits from Costume College. So right now they're just in Ziploc bags and I've put them with the Costume College stuff. But obviously they can't just like be on the shelf like this, so ugly. So I will have to figure out something for that. But yeah, everything else is looking super nice. I'm very happy with how things are going. So, and I do have more of a mess over here from some of the other stuff I've pulled out of the cubby that hasn't found its home yet. But overall, things are going pretty well. I have a fair amount of cubbies in the table that are starting to open up. Not so much on this side. I mean, there's not much in there, but there's a few over here on this side, and there's even more on the other side that are opening back up. So yeah, I am liking the progress, but it's still a long road ahead. So I will check back in probably once I've got a bunch of like smaller things rolled, maybe if the pile's gone down. Oh, the other issue that I'm having is that I am running out of the fabric swatch sheets, and apparently this site that I got them on, which is sewweekly.com, doesn't exist anymore. It is, as of at least 2019, did not exist. So that's great. That means that I have to make sure that I have a blank one, but I don't know how to make copies onto cardstock. So like, I don't even think that's something that my work printers can do, and it's certainly not something that my home printer can do. I don't think my home printer can even print on cardstock. And now I'm worried that I don't even have one blank one left. Uh-oh, I thought I did. But yeah, I might have to figure out how to kind of template this up myself. Maybe make it in like pages or something. And maybe then I can print it, because I really love this template and I want them all to be uniform. Oh well. If anyone knows what happened to sewweekly.com, or if anyone knows where I can like get this template, maybe you have it saved on your computer from the past, please share. This is what things are currently looking like in the calyx unit, with still pile on the floor, but it's getting maybe a little bit smaller. And then I do have a couple of shelves or cubbies in the table done, or at least started with the flat folds. And I did wind up putting some things kind of like back in one of the cubbies. I don't know if this is actually how it's going to be, but I had a lot of kind of weird random misshapen things. So I've got like boning, the comic book cards that I roll my trims on. This is that 1860s hand sewn dress that is a UFO. And then I have my mini tripod, steamer, there's some steamer accessories and like other kind of hardware accessories back there. And I didn't really know where to put them. They're all kind of random shapes and sizes. So I decided I would just put them all together. That might change because I might need this for fabric, but for now I'm kind of happy with that. And then I also just figured out one other storage solution, which the one other random thing that I had left out were my fans and my hat pins. And those I want to be more accessible. And I don't want to stick them down in this corner with those other really random things. Plus, like, the fans are, you know, they'd go all over basically. So over here is my little cubby that I keep gloves and handkerchiefs and stuff like that in. And that's all set in here right now. I also stuck my hat pin boxes in there. And I figured this little spot right here could be where my fans would go, but I didn't want them to spill out all over every time I took out like this big box. So I was looking for a box to put, you know, fans in. And I realized, oh, that shape is just perfect for a Christmas lights box. And since I happened to put up my Christmas lights today, and I had one box that I had not put in the recycling bin yet, this is that box. So my fans are now all nicely tucked. This one's a little long, but the rest of them are actually the perfect length for the Christmas lights box. And I can go ahead and put that in there right on top of the hat pins. So now everything is nice and tidy in there, and I can just pull out the whole box if I want a fan and then see which fan I want. So it'll be nice and easy. Oh my gosh, I am already feeling so much better. You can see the floor. It needs vacuuming, but you can see it. So what I did since earlier tonight when I last checked in was that a lot of that pile was actually velvet and fur. So the velvet and fur I can't do, well, the velvet really, I can't put it on cardboard because I'm going to get sharp creases in the velvet. And most of this isn't nice velvet anyway, and most of it is remnant velvet. This is the only thing that's yardage, and that is still not great because it has dye problems basically. So all of the velvet and also the fake fur, I just rolled it and I put it all in the cubby. So again, most of it is just scrap type stuff and I can pull it out if I need it. And then the other stuff that was in there, again, most of it was scraps. So I've just shoved it in here for now. It's not going to stay that way. That's, you know, that's not the end all. I'm going to get some tub type drawer things and put scraps and stuff in there, but I probably am not going to do that until I actually figure out how many scraps I have, because I do still have some of the table cubbies to go, and a lot of those are scraps. For example, this entire cubby is cotton scraps specifically. So what I would like to be able to do is do like princess scraps, cotton scraps, scraps of like historical garments, and just have like a little drawer for each of those, ideally in these cubbies. So I'm going to be looking for drawers to fit in some of these for those scraps. I have also rolled more fabric, so these are all cottons up here. I haven't really put them in any specific order besides patterned versus solids, but those are cottons. And then over here, this is super dark, so I do apologize, but over here I have like cotton blend type stuff, plus some, I think there's a linen in there, and silks over here in the corner. And then down here I started to do some of the princess fabrics, so plus some other polyesters. So that is down there, polyesters. But I still obviously have 3 cubbies of princess, I think mostly. This is all scraps from historical costuming. I think there's some historical costuming scraps in there too. This is actually a linen dress that I made that's kind of a medieval-ish dress that I've hated. Like, it's never looked good on me. So I kind of figured I would reuse the fabric at some point because it is linen, it's nice, but I don't know for what, and I don't really know the best way to store it. So I'll see what happens to that. And this, I have, these are mostly like cotton muslin, or I've got organdy down in the corner down here, more princess stuff up here, and then there's some more stuff that's sorted on the other side. But I'm getting through it. It's just a long haul, a long slog, but it just looks so nice when it's all nicely folded. So eventually most of this will look like this and I will be happy. But this is going to be a long process. I have no idea when this video is coming out, but I've already been working on this for like a week and a half at least, I think. So yeah. Anyway, I will check in with you later when I have more to show you. My bins have come in. These are the bins that I ordered for the sewing table to go in those cubbies. So I got these on Amazon. They're the Amazon Basics ones, and I will link them down below, and I'll try to link like everything that I use for this reorganization as well, and I will attempt to do a recap of the cost, by the way, at the end of this video when everything is done as well. But these are, again, the Amazon Basics one. They fit in the cubbies pretty perfectly. They're maybe about a ½ inch or an inch like shallower than the cubbies, so they could have been a little bit deeper and, you know, would have given me more storage, but they're close enough. And it's a 6-pack. I think it was about like $20 for 6, so it wasn't too bad. It might have even been a little bit cheaper than that. And now I can go ahead and put all of my small bits in there. So this is going to be really probably almost anything under about a yard. Definitely anything under about like 2/3 of a yard, because that again is the point at which I can no longer wrap it on cardboard. And things that are like super scrappy are also just difficult to wrap on cardboard, even if they are like 2/3 yards plus scraps. So these are going to be for that, and I'm going to label each one. I haven't decided how yet because I don't actually own a label maker, which, like, that's what I should have asked for Christmas, a label maker. But I'm going to label them somehow because they are all gray, so I want to know what I'm pulling out, whether that is like wool scraps, silk scraps, cotton print scraps, princess fabric scraps, and probably like miscellaneous scraps is how I'm going to do it. And then one of them I think I'm also going to use for my ironing type supplies, because that's stuff that I access a whole lot. So we'll have to kind of see how things go, because I might also want another bin for like muslin type scraps. I already have one, but it's a little bit smaller of a bin because it was something that I think a dollar store bin that I got in college. So maybe I'll just switch things around and see what needs to be in what. But I'm excited to be able to actually like put things in here and make those drawers that, or those cubbies that are currently super messy, into something that at least I don't have to look at the mess and can hopefully easily access the things inside of it. So it's time to get those all organized. So I wanted to pop in here with a little bit of an update on how all of the organizational stuff is going. There's not too much change to this area since the last time that I showed this to you. I did kind of start to work on this cube right here, and then I stopped, and I will tell you why. Also, the cube down here has now been eliminated to just wool scraps, and I will again explain why that is still there in a moment. And that really, it leads me to here. So you might notice I've got one of the bins in. I have labeled them all with masking tape. This one, though, honestly, it's overly full, and it's not the only one that's overly full. I am starting to clear out some other cubbies, though, so I think at this point I have smaller pieces still in 2 cubbies on this side, those 2 right there, and this one is all cotton stuff, mostly muslin, some sateen, some twill, and then this one is all organdy currently. I don't think there's any fabric in there. I think that's like plastic bags and ironing stuff, and I haven't looked at it yet, but I still need to. And then there's also a skirt in here that I decided I hated the skirt, but I still like the fabric, so that's kind of along with that linen dress that I'm not really sure what to do with it right now. But the real dilemma here, I'm going to use my phone as a flashlight because it's so dark on this side of my table. The real dilemma here is that I've run out of bins. So I got a 6-pack of bins, as I mentioned, and I thought 6 would be more than enough, and I was very wrong. I have just reordered another pack of bins because I hope that an extra 6 will be enough. So basically what I have here is I've got historical cottons in this one. I have princess synthetics in that one. Sorry, my dead cat is making a shadow. And by the way, a dead cat is the thing that blocks my microphone. Don't worry, I'm not abusing any cats. And then down here I have tulle, sequins, sequin fabric, felt, etc. Over here are silk scraps. Those are all like such the tiniest scraps. There's like not even yardage. I use silk till there's nothing left. And then over here I've got historical synthetics. I have also rolled a lot more fabric too, so there's more fabric rolled over here, and then all of these up here. Sorry about those shadows. And these are all synthetic princess fabrics. These are kind of a mix of like, they're all historical stuff, but they're cottons, silks, mostly I think just cottons and silks. And then over here we've got like historical-ish synthetics. And so the reason that these here are still there is because that's mostly small pieces for like thick fabric. So we've got canvases, some twills. I think that's about it. It's mostly canvas, twill, maybe some bottom weights. And then again, I mentioned the wool down there. So I ran out of bins before I could get a bin for the wool, before I could get a bin for the canvas or bottom weights, which I hope fits in a bin, and before I could do a bin for the cottons. And then I do still have my silk organza down here too. I had to move the fur over out of the velvet cubby because the velvets actually wound up taking up a whole cubby. I found some more in the princess section, so I put them in there. And so what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do a drawer, one of the little drawers like this, that is part organza, part organdy, because I can easily tell them apart, but they are both kind of similar-ish, and they both don't like to fold at all. So that way I can just kind of shove them in the bin. And then again, a bin for the like various cotton-y type scraps. So that, oh, and then I want to separate out some of the quilting cottons and some of the princess synthetics because both of those bins are like totally overflowing, bursting, need more space. So I think that is 6 more bins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I think so. One thing that I'm debating about is maybe getting a calyx bin, like one that actually fits these units, one large bin that the velvets could go in, or possibly doing another double drawer, because I like the double drawers because then you don't get anything buried. But if I did the velvets like face up in the bin, that might work. So that's kind of still up in the air. And honestly, kind of like filling these is up in the air. This one is going to be yardage of stuff that like I use frequently. So in fact, I already have some of it rolled right here. We have sateen, cotton sateen, cotton muslin, cotton twill, and cotton twill. So black and white cotton twill in there. And so those are like my utility fabrics, basically things I use all the time. And those are going to go in there. I have more black cotton sateen that's in the wash, in fact, that needs to go in there. But it kind of begs the question of that's going to get filled with that. What does that one get filled with? What does that one get filled with? Question. So I'm not really positive yet because I think I'm actually kind of filling up these more than the others because I like having everything small in here. So I could move shoes over, or I could wind up with empty cubbies. Is that weird? I do still have some cubbies that I need to sort on the other side of the table, which I can't access right now because Lady Jane is in the way. But yeah, there's not that much left to go over there, I think. So this is going to be quite interesting. I may wind up with extra space. I'm sure I'm speaking too soon, but that sure would be nice. And then I can rearrange all these, make them all in color order. I'm going to do by type, by fabric type, and then by color. So like kind of like how I have the silks right now, where they are all silks, but they're in rainbow order, but also they're jammed in there. I think they all fit in there though, so probably won't change that, but I want to do, oh no, actually I lied. I have one lone silk over here by its lonesome, just having its own little lonely party. But everything else I think is sorted silk-wise by type, and then I started to do cottons, started to do wools, and then these 3 are kind of miscellaneous, so those still have to get worked at, but it's looking so much better. I still don't know what to do with the stuffed animals because if I don't have them there, I don't know where to put them. I don't want to put them in like a bin in the garage. That would just be mean. So I do have to sort that out. And then I still, like, the yarn is not super neat, and that other kind of miscellaneous cubby is still meh. So I might wind up moving the patterns and putting drawers here. I still haven't decided yet. But I like my little, like, Percy looking on, you know, judgingly. Okay, that is all for this check-in. I'm definitely feeling so much easier and lighter about how well things are going. I think things are really looking a lot better. So I'm excited. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, the replacement bins won't be here till Friday, and it is Tuesday night. So that puts a little delay on things. So the good news is that I am actually down to my last pile. I have gone and taken everything out of the stuff over here. I did switch out, I got my new bins and I switched out the kind of like sheets for mock-ups bin with one of the gray ones because it fits a little bit better. That's still the scarves over there, but everything else is out in this pile, so there really wasn't that much over there, and all of this is ancient. I don't think there's anything newer than 2012 max over here, so I have a feeling that a lot of this I'm just going to get rid of. It's all like small scrappy bits of things that are really old, mostly synthetics. So I'm just kind of going to go through this and probably get rid of most of it. And I do have one other bin left from the bins that arrived today, so I might put some stuff in there. But I got the wool in the bin, so now you can see there are shoe boxes over here. I pulled out all of those like canvas and twill bits, and they are now in one of the bins over here. So yeah, and I've even cleaned out the area of my pressing tools. Most of it was plastic bags, so that's great. I did keep a bag worth of Ziploc bags in here. Sorry, I know it's really dark, but everything else is just the pressing tools for now. So yeah, everything is quite a bit neater. I just have to go through this last pile, so I will check back in with you once that is done. The cubbies are done. I love how they look, though I have to admit I'm still not super fond of this one right here, which has the wigs and other miscellaneous stuff, so I might still get drawers to deal with that. And I'm still thinking about if I want to do drawers that can hold like the furs and the velvets, the fake furs and the velvets. So it's possible that those will change, and it's possible that the order of some of the fabrics will change, but I do really like it overall. Yeah, still not sure about the stuffed animals, but they're staying for now. So what I have here is that these are kind of like the basic fabrics. So in here I have white poly satin, I have black canvas, white twill, I think, black twill, muslin, and then white and black sateen. And this is also twill. This is just blue twill, and I didn't really have a better place to put it. And then here we have silks all done by color, plus the last two silks that wouldn't fit. The random wools that are not in shades of blue, though this one actually I found out is not wool. I think it was supposed to be a wool blend, but I'm pretty sure it is an entirely blend. And then here we have a fake fur and minky plus nets and mesh and netting and all that sort of stuff. Down below that we have synthetic fabrics that can be used for historical costuming or regular sewing. Then we have two cubbies of wool here, all of my blue wools, and cottons over here, more the historical ones up top, and then some cotton printed ones down at the bottom. I'm not positive I'm going to leave the cotton printed ones here. I may wind up moving them back over to the table over here, because I do have the rest of my printed cottons here. These are just smaller yardages, so the ones in the calyx unit are just larger yardages. I have not labeled all of my bins yet, and I'm thinking that I may actually buy another pack. The new pack did get here, so that's why I was working on these today. And I have in here smaller bits of muslin that aren't boltable. So those can all be made into things. And then down here is wools, scrap wool. So not too small to put on the bolts. This one is twill and canvas and other stuff that again was too small to wrap, but can be still used for structure and all that. This one is, how I mentioned before, it is half organza and half cotton organdy, and I didn't feel like bolting either of these because they're so finicky, so I just gave them their own drawer. And then the buttons are still, like, I haven't done anything to the buttons. They weren't too bad before, but I would like to put the buttons that are in a bag in something, so I might get another button container and put them in there. And then my ironing stuff, which is nice and neat now. Over here, there's actually a whole lot of empty cubby spaces. So that's why I was thinking about getting more bins, because some of these bins are actually super, super stuffed. This one, for example, is mock-up fabric. So these are like old sheets and things, and it's just very, very full. And these were those three, well, there are three pieces that, two of which I've made, and then one is like, I got it from a thrift store and then didn't like it, but it's two skirts and a historical dress, and I just feel like I want to reuse the fabric for other things. This was all miscellaneous stuff. So most of that big pile that I showed you before that I pulled out of this side of the unit, a lot of it wound up in here or the garbage, or some of it got sorted into like princess or cottons. But this was really just so miscellaneous, and they're all small bits and just to know what to do with it. But basically the unifying feature is that they're all synthetic things that I haven't touched in a long time and should probably get rid of, but didn't. And then I moved the historical synthetics over to this side to be with the other synthetics, but these are things that I have used more recently. Going over to the other side, the dark side of the table, because this is the side that has no lighting. It hasn't changed much since before. I do have one empty cubby down here as well, because that was where the historical synthetics were. This over here, these are cottons and some synthetics. Actually, I think they're mostly synthetics that are used for historical costuming that could be boltable. And then these are mostly cottons, plus I have silks on the right-hand side. These are princess fabric, so they're really all synthetics. And then I have the small princess synthetics in the bin. Down here, I wound up moving some other shears and stuff like that into there that were in the princess one, because this bin is ridiculously full. So I would love to separate that and the cottons and the historical synthetics into some additional bins. And then also actually the historical cottons wound up being super, super full too. So I'd love to give that a little bit more space. And then the silk actually has lots of breathing room because I don't have that much silk scrap, but this is all silk scrap. So that's everything on the cubbies. Now I just have to do the mess on the table, and then this entire reorganizing project is done. The table is clean. That's almost the most amazing part. The table seems so large now. I haven't had it clean in so long. I went and got rid of the box full of random junk that turned out to be half a whole ton of notepads that has been sitting in the back of the table this whole time, and have instead put everything in this little fabric bin, and it can hold everything, including my rulers, one notepad, scissors, pin cushions, etc. So I am super happy about that. It all just looks so, so nice. And I even went and cleaned up the random scraps that I had lying on here. Now there are just two mending projects on top of there. I reorganized my patterns so that they are not so squished and moved. I had two drawers of UFOs, and I will be moving those into one of the fabric drawers that I get for the table. And back here, I did have a whole ton of random fabric scraps that were left over from a show that I costumed, and I've even put those into a little bin. And now I just have this is a bag that contains all of the patterns and like final mock-ups for things, and then there's a bag of fiber fill back there, and that's it. So I am so happy with everything. Look at this room. It is so much cleaner, so much more organized. I should be able to find everything, and that is just visually pleasing. So I am extremely happy to have finished this reorganization project. It did take me a lot longer than I had anticipated, but I suppose on the flip side, I did complete a couple of projects within the time frame of this reorganization as well. I believe in total it took me about 3 weeks, so it was quite a project, but again, I'm really pleased with the result. And again, I think that there are some things that I might change and I might continue to organize, but everything just feels feels like a weight off of my shoulders. I feel like there's more space in this small room, and I think I'm going to be able to find everything really easily and hopefully be able to even do some stash busting because I can see all of my fabrics laid out a lot better. So I wanted to talk about a few things like the budget of this whole reorganization. It really was not an expensive process at all. Almost all of the cardboard that I used was recycled cardboard. So it hadn't been used yet, but it had been acquired years ago and had been sitting in like my garage, for example, for 2 years. And so I really only wound up getting a little bit of new cardboard to do this. The rest of it I already had in my stash. I bought so far 2 packs of the smaller drawer cubby units, and I will be buying one more pack. Those I believe are $19 a piece, so that is $57 right there. So that was probably the largest expense out of everything. The smaller drawers were about $5 a piece, and I have 8 of them, so that's another $40. And then the shelves were 2 shelves per pack, and they were $9 for a pack, so that is $18 right there. I forgot the 2 drawer inserts. It was a 2-pack for $13.50. So that means that the total cost for this whole thing was about $120, or really more like $140, which I think was well worth it. So the big thing is really just that I have to keep it this way. I don't want to go back and revert to my former disorganized, messy ways. I want to stay nice and neat and have a beautiful sewing room and a lovely backdrop for my videos. So yes, again, super, super excited about all of this. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. Maybe it has inspired you to reorganize your own sewing space. If it has, leave me a comment down below and tell me what all you're going to be changing, what sort of things you might be taking from my organization video, or what things you're going to be doing new and improved even all on your own, because I would love to have some additional organizational tips if you have any for me. But if you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week, with my sewing vlogs like this one on Tuesdays and my regular content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And I also have a link to my Ko-fi account down below if you would like to support me and my channel further. Once again, thank you so much for joining me this week. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!